Let's start with the Bears visiting the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are favored by 9 in this one. Todd, take your pick.
Well, Mitch Trubisky in this matchup is going to need to complete more than 4 passes if the Bears are going to stay competitive. They were the beneficiary last weekend of an errant Carolina Panthers offense. The Bears mustered 153 total yards. In the last couple weeks, we've seen special team scores. We've seen defensive scores. We've seen Tariq Cohen throw touchdown passes. That's not going to work against New Orleans. This number, in my opinion, should be in double digits. I love what the Saints can do offensively. They'll force the Bears to play from behind. New Orleans wins, and wins big against the team formerly known as the Monsters of the Midway.
Yeah, last week we both loved the Bears against the Carolina Panthers and thought they were going to win, and we were right. I don't even hesitate. I think this is a terrible matchup for Chicago. I was wrong preseason on New Orleans. This is a real team. I think they're going to smother the Bears. This has 35-13 New Orleans written all over it. The Carolina Panthers visit the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is favored by 2. Todd Fuhrman, take your pick.
There's nothing I love better than when 2 stocks are at rock bottom of the market, and that's exactly what we have here. Tampa's still trying to figure things out offensively with that woeful fumble late in Western New York last weekend, and Carolina still seeking an offensive identity. But I have more faith in Carolina righting the ship for whatever reason. I think Cam Newton stays within himself. They're going to spread the ball around a little bit more effectively than what Tampa can do. But I'm going to lean on the Carolina defense to be the X factor here. Give me the Panthers to get a big win on the road in the division and cover the points in the process.
I'm going to take Tampa Bay to win and cover, and I don't even hesitate here, Todd. And, lost in the shuffle with Cam Newton and his antics. He's been terrible at the quarterback position. He's had an awful, awful campaign. To me, forget the line on this game. The big thing that's interesting to me, it's post-game. What question is it? Question 2? Is it question 5? What minute mark of the press conference is Cam Newton going to cry? When is he going to walk off? I'm going to go with the Bucs to win and cover. Cam Newton will walk off at the 2-minute mark of his press conference. That's the lock of the week. Give me Tampa Bay over the Carolina Panthers. I'll say it again, Cam Newton will never get it. My Oakland Raiders. No. Actually, your Oakland Raiders. Your Oakland Raiders. You picked the Raiders for the first time in 3 years on Time to Shine. They head to Buffalo on Sunday. The Bills are favored by 2.5 at home. Will Todd Fuhrman do it again? Todd, take your pick.
Adam, this was one of the most difficult games for me to try and handicap. I tried to assess how Buffalo's defense would look against the resurgent Oakland offense. Could the Raiders' defense provide enough of an obstacle for a Buffalo offense that's looked pedestrian at times when LaShawn McCoy can't get going? And then you look down the roster and realize, wait a second, the biggest name on Oakland's defense happened to play his college football right there in Western New York at Buffalo University. I'm going to back the Raiders for the second straight week. I think the extra time to prepare, the fact that Jack Del Rio has had this team focused for trips to the East Coast in the past, going 9-2 against the spread in 11 such occurrences. I think Oakland starts to look more like the team we expected them to be before the season. And all those statistics that suggest a regression for Buffalo, they rear their ugly head on Sunday.
I'm starting to believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. I mean, this is unbelievable, Todd Fuhrman. I thought this was the single toughest game of the week to pick. If Todd Fuhrman's picking the Raiders, I'm picking the Raiders. That's all the analysis you're getting from me on that game. The LA Chargers head to Foxborough this weekend. Patriots are favored by 7.5. Todd Fuhrman, take your pick.
For me, Adam, this game isn't about the players that are going to be on the field. It's going to be an absence in that New England linebacking core, and it's Donta Hightower, lost for the season with a torn pectoral. He is to that defense what Tom Brady is to the offense. Gets everybody set, makes sure people are properly positioned. And when you go against a Chargers team that runs a lot of short crosses and has 2 tight ends that are capable of taking advantage of space in the middle, I think Hunter Henry has a massive day for the Chargers offensively. You look at what's LA can do on the defensive side. They're going to bring pressure off the edge with Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. And while I worry about the Chargers' inability to slow down opposing rushing attacks, I think this is way too big a number, and it's the perfect opportunity to sell high on the Patriots, who the country saw look like the greatest team in the world in their Sunday night dismantling of the Falcons. I'm taking the live dog here, plus the 7.5.
Todd, we're sharing a brain, and I echo what you said about Hightower, and I've made that exact comparison, and I couldn't circle the Chargers fast enough. I'm going to take New England to win the game. Wouldn't be surprised if LA won it outright. You nailed it. Ingram, Bosa, love those matchups. I think Melvin Gordon will get it done. Phil Rivers will get it done. I'm taking Los Angeles with the points. NFC East battle Sunday afternoon. The Dallas Cowboys, 2-point road favorites against Washington. Todd Fuhrman, take your pick.
Well, we'll start with the number here, and I think it'll be indicative of where I'm going with my analysis. Had this game been played last weekend, we'd be looking at Washington, a modest 1.5-point favorite in this particular spot. Lo and behold, Dallas goes out west and beats up on the 49ers, looking like the offensive juggernaut we've seen since week 4, where the Cowboys have led the league in total yardage and rushing yardage alike. You look at Washington, extremely banged up on the offensive line. Coach Gruden had to cancel practice on Wednesday because he wanted to give the players another day to rest and recover after that physical game on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think it's an excellent opportunity with Washington backed into a corner. We've seen the chemistry start to get forged with Kirk Cousins and Josh Doxson. Terrell Pryor, forget about him. Chris Thompson is your X factor here. I like Washington not only to cover this modest number as a home dog, but to win the game outright and move to 4-3 in the NFC East.
Wow, I got into it earlier. This is a must-win, should-win game for the Dallas Cowboys. I think Zeke is going to dominate. You're right about Cousins and Doxson. I think that's a great point. Boy, if it was a normal week with regular rest and they had full practice and weren't coming off of that Monday night loss, maybe I'd have a different opinion, but those are all facts. I love the Cowboys. I think Dallas is going to win, and I think they're going to win by 7 to 10 points. Sunday night football, Todd Fuhrman, the trauma-filled Pittsburgh Steelers visit Detroit. Pittsburgh is favored by 2.5 over the rebuilding since 1957 Detroit Lions. So, Todd Fuhrman, take your pick.
I'm going to get overly technical in this game because, Adam, when I break down a lot of the matches, both in professional and college football, you want to look at the statistics, figure out where some of those X's and O's are going to work in Team A or Team B's favor. But that's not the only way you break down games. You look at the schedule and the situation. You know there are certain spots where a team is going to elevate its performance. There are certain spots where they're going to be a little bit flat. And everything going for Detroit here from a situational perspective says the Lions are the play here on Sunday night. Home underdogs, they've had extra time to prepare. Matt Stafford can hopefully shake that ankle ailment that slowed him down against the Saints. But the Steelers dominate in every statistical category. Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell played their college football in the state of Michigan. Those two account for 65% of what the Steelers do offensively. And I think Pittsburgh, knowing that the bye week is on deck, it's their defense that dominates here. I don't do it often, but I'm going to lay points with the road team in primetime. Give me the Steelers to announce why they may be the best team going in the AFC.
Well, I think you just nailed it, and it goes noted. You're right on your history. Normally, historically, here on Time to Shine, you'd take the Lions. Remember, you did that a few weeks ago with the Raiders and the Redskins, and you were spot on with Washington. I'm with everything that you just said. I think Pittsburgh wins and covers on defense. And, oh, by the way, Le'Veon Bell and Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. And the Lions have been rebuilding since 1957. I'm not convinced this is even going to be a competitive game. Let's take a look at the rest of our picks for week number 8 in the NFL. We're both rolling with the Minnesota Vikings. We're both rolling with the Falcons. I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Todd Fuhrman apparently likes Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers. I actually think Joe Mixon's going to get the ball, so I'll go with the Bengals. Todd's got Indianapolis. I've got Houston. Told you earlier in the show I think they're going to win outright. Todd has Seattle, and we disagree on Monday night's football. Of course, we remind our viewers, as we do every single week, to check out Todd's Bet the Board podcast, easily found at bettheboardpodcast.com. Todd, good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.